Joshua in
Hello?
Florida, you're on the line with Paul and Jimmy. Hello.
Hello, Paul and Jimmy. So
What's up?
I've been looking into something recently. Uh, it's basically a phenomenon that goes on when people take DMT, and they often see these like I think the best way I can describe them is like these entities, and they experience this like what they feel to be like the sense of a more real reality. And one thing found peculiar about all of this is one specific entity inside that. I don't believe that it's actual entities, for the record, but I do find it a bit odd that there's this type of entity that's always consistent amongst, at least as far as I've researched about this subject matter, called machine elves. And regardless of the trip itself, it's always described as some beneficial entity. I wanted to hear your thoughts on that.
Machine elves? Is that what you said?
Yes. There's other names for
I
it,
got
but that's the
nothing for
most
you.
common name.
There being common strains and lots of things doesn't. I find humans to not be that unpredictable or different as we feel very much like we are.
Oh yeah.
But there's often common threads between people's experiences, especially people who have heard of other experiences, but even without that.
Right. So there's lots of examples. I have literally no experience at all with hallucinatory drugs at all, but it sure seems like to me, yeah, altering brain chemistry is not going to be evidence of anything. I don't know if you're just saying, hey, this is neat,
I agree.
Or if you okay. So do you think it's neat in the same way that a lot of people have dreams about falling?
I suppose so.
You do. You think that's this? You feel equally compelled
I find it
by
fascinating
those.
looking to,
Okay.
By the same standard. Sorry, continue.
Oh no, I was letting you continue. I guess these are like, to me, these are just things so our brain chemistry may have enough in common that when exposed to similar stimuli, brains will generate a similar thing. To me, is no more exciting than like particular stimuli will generate the color purple, even though the color purple isn't specifically existing, right? But the same stimuli gives us basically
it tends to be like
the same kind of quality.
The eyes, yeah.
Right. So I guess I don't find it particularly interesting, and I guess do you feel like I should find it interesting?
Yes, because like from these experiences that these people have, since it's so consistent with like overall, even though these people have barely ever communicated with each other, it has some consistency with the stories all throughout, with barely any contact with each other, if at all. So, do I think if it's a god or not? I do not think it's a god at all. And even if it is like some form of god out there, I don't think it's a god. I just think it's just some, like, at best, if it is a life form of some kind, it's basically
but hold
like
on. Did I misunderstand you? Sorry, Joshua. Did I misunderstand you? I asked you if you put machine elves in the same category as the color purple and dreams about falling. And I thought you said that, yes, you put those in the same category. And that category being similar stimuli gives people similar qualia.
Okay, I think I should clarify there. As far as I currently understand, it most likely is that stimuli. I'm just trying to weigh the possibilities on whether or not it's more than that.
What makes you think, other than I think you think maybe a machine elf is a more novel concept, maybe because you haven't. It's more fun to think about than the color purple or falling down. Is there something other than the novelty of it? Okay, and so that you're aware generally that at one point in time, alien abduction stories were all over the map.
Yeah, I'm aware of that.
But at some point in time, alien abduction stories coalesced around, the large gray-skinned one, right?
Yeah.
Like,
I think it's because of Hollywood and like novelizations that really lead to that. I don't know the psychological phenomenon beyond a motivation
you would agree that people who are going to subject themselves to, psychological drugs, to psychotropic drugs, tend to do so within a community of other people who partake as well?
I haven't really thought too far into that. That's on me, but I can definitely see that can be a large factor. But at the same time, not all of them are going to be talking all about machine elves to newcomers, right? Like, sometimes it's just going to be remote.
No, but you understand that when you come out of it, if you had an experience that was even within 100 miles of a machine elf thing, and you come out of it and someone says, hey, did you see the machine elves? You might give that name to the thing that you experienced, even if it wasn't exactly on par with the thing the others. Like, to me, these are just uninteresting coalescence of similar stimuli creating the brain giving similar qualia, and also the socializing factors of these communities that talk about. This like Mandela effect is a whole thing, right? And that's not even people taking psychotropic drugs. It's just, we come to share some mass delusions about certain things we would swear were true. And I'm not meaning to yuck your yum, Joshua. Like, I'm asking you to tell me why I should be excited about machine elves.
Well,
besides the cool name.
Yeah, it is a cool name. From the research I've done into it, besides the basically, for lack of a better term, I guess, like convergence, like akin to convergent evolution, meaning the same point, having the same experiences, even though they're remotely apart from each other, but that has its own problems.
But I gave you a whole list of convergent type things, and I'm asking you why machine elves is in a different. Sorry, I just want to make sure you're leading me to why machine elves are different than all these other convergences.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to explain to you.
Sorry, please proceed.
Yeah, you're fine. I think it's because of there's still research going on about this because of the lack of research, or research has been outright purged on basically drug trips from all sorts of different groups. I think it's a specific chemical, and people are theorizing, including those in the scientific community, as far as I currently can tell, that it may be some way of seeing it, like basically a different reality in some capacity. I forget the actual phenomenon inside the brain that does it, but
So you're positing at this point. So I care only about machine elves only if machine elves are veridical and a real thing. If it's merely a thing that happens in the brain, I'm not gonna. So that's a challenge that might be a problem with me and my psyche. I get that.
Yeah.
That might be a limitation of Paul. That's fine. But are you leading to a point where machine elves are a real thing and that we're doing multiverse jumping when we take drugs?
It's more so like a glimpse from what I've looked into it, like a little window, like a little guest visit. There's often this description
what
of
would be the
a waiting room.
What do you believe? So you're telling me that you believe in multiverses at this point, at least, or alternate dimensions at some point where. Okay, so
agnostic to the idea. I'm agnostic to the idea, and I'm relying on evidence. I'm waiting for more evidence.
Okay. So, but you're saying if enough research was done on machine elves, that machine elves could eventually lead us to discovering a multiverse?
More so DMT, and if these machine elves are real, then yes, it very much could. But that's a lot of ifs, and I want to wait for more research.
How many?
Okay.
How many? Sorry, go. Sorry, finish your thing. I shouldn't interrupt.
I was done. So, yeah.
How many explanations have you ever heard of for people's drug trips that have been confirmed to be the result of traversing a multiverse?
Very, none at all.
Right. None confirmed. How many drug trips have you heard confirmed to be occurring in the brain, and that when you have a drug trip, you can unlock some fucking wild shit in your brain because things are firing that don't usually fire. You're dreaming in areas of your brain you don't usually dream in. How many material explanations have you heard confirmed for the things that people have experienced while on a drug trip?
Several.
Yeah.
It's pretty sure it's reliant on all sorts of fields of psychology or psychological phenomenon. For example, different systems of social cohesion.
That's fine. I'm not actually asking for the list. I'm not asking for the list, just the number. And so the number is several compared to 0. So as you're assessing, I'm looking for an explanation of what potentially is the answer. Do I have a justified reason to entertain a could-be proposition, which, by the way, is still a claim, and you haven't actually demonstrated the claim. In fact, you've acknowledged demonstration of the claim has never been done. Should I say that something could be amongst the explanations when so far that has never been correct, and materialistic explanations have always been correct, and there have been many, many of them? Which one is being an actual reasonable, as the caller prior brought up, reasonable, rational, logical thinker? Rational was the other one. Right. I think there's even something wild that many atheists haven't addressed. And I hear it all the time, and they get so mad at me. They think I'm just being pedantic when I bring up that they haven't actually done the work to justify the statement they've made. If you say the phrase, it could be the multiverse, you now have a burden of proof. Not to prove that the multiverse is a candidate explanation, or that not to prove that the multiverse exists, just that it is a candidate explanation. You have to prove that it could. Atheists often like to say, I've heard them say, I'm not saying a God isn't possible. Sure. Is a God possible? Yes. Is God possible? I don't know that that's true. Might be. But when have we demonstrated that God is possible? Not exists. When did we demonstrate God is possible? Because things that are possible are not simply everything which has been failed to be proven impossible. Just because we haven't yet proven something impossible, especially something like a non-falsifiable statement, does not leave it then open to being possible. The correct position is a type of agnosticism. I have no idea if God is possible. I have no idea if God is impossible. And it's crazy to claim either and take on that burden of proof when I am trying to be a good skeptic and cannot actually justify those statements with evidence.
Yeah, that's
so I would advise you, Joshua, to maybe drop the could language in the future. Just saying.
Say again?
I was saying I would advise you to drop the could language in the future, because your could that you gave earlier, I would say wasn't justified.
Yeah, that's fair. That's actually one of the reasons why I wanted to call, because it's basically bouncing my ideas off of you, similar to how scientists go under peer review. Not the exact same process, but basically. I
get it. It's fine. You're probably familiar with Paul and I. You know that we articulate things in a way you find heavily digestible. and that the specific way we would phrase our opposition had the potential to get through to you in a way that other opposition you have interpreted so far hasn't yet. And I hope that we actually accomplished that, but I assume that was the motivation.
Yeah, I want to like consult your expertise, what your thoughts on it are, and I do have to agree with you. There isn't currently reasonable to believe that it, at least currently, as things are currently with the drug trips thing. I do agree with you that if evidence is lacking, I'm still going to withhold belief. I'm still going to wait to see if there's evidence for it, but I'm withholding belief.
It's okay for you to hope for things, Joshua. It's okay for you to hope that, you know, that machine elves or machine monkeys or whatever they were. It's okay for you to hope, for you to wish that that's.
I just find it really fascinating, frankly.
That eventually evidence will one day be found, but you know, you reserve your judgment until such day that happens.
And try to prevent it from. Try to prevent it from encouraging your confirmation bias from being a little bit more active, for example. That's a hard part with hoping for things to be true that you don't have evidence of, is it primes you for. I agree with Paul. That wasn't disagreement for the record. Just be aware that hoping for something to be true may prime you to let your confirmation bias get away with you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I know that for sure. Like
But I hope when I die, a game over screen pops up and I take the headset off, right? But I don't believe it, and I don't allow myself to start going. Therefore,
it's a similar situation.
Don't know why I would have picked this game to play. Can we throw Trump in there?
Who the fuck would ever want to play this game of all things, where like several people suffer and die at the witness the worst atrocities? And I'm just sitting here like, if that is the case, I'm just like, what motivated you to buy this bullshit to begin with?
I'm gonna get out. I'm gonna open up the machine, and they're gonna be like, "Well, if you remember, the objective of the game was to solve Israel-Gaza. You didn't do it.
That's right. You didn't.
Best of luck with that. That takes a long time to work through.
We set everything up. We gave you a platform. You got the platform, and then you started making content about what? Response videos to other YouTubers? I'm just kidding. That's my bread and butter. That's how I've. Present company too. I'm not going to shit on that.
But yeah, I see what you're point.
Yeah, it's all good.
It's what pays for us to live.
Indeed.
But anyway, I'm not solving Israel Gaza by 10 reasons girl to find her dumb.
Yeah. But at the same time, you can actually, like, exposing people to the information would have at least some small trickle effect that'll cause a larger effect too.
It's not. What if it's not even a side objective? I'm not getting points for shit.
Yeah.
I was supposed to become the Dragonborn. I don't even believe in Dragonborns.
In Jimmy's scenario, I actually hope that everyone else is an NPC. I would hope that that's the way that would work.
Because that would be a hell of a lot nicer, just knowing that it's just
absolutely,
like you can just open a cheat menu and just type in "no more suffering for anyone whatsoever," and that's the end of it. No one suffers at that point.
Maybe there's like 5 real people and everyone else is NPCs. Ironically, Jesus was one of the other real ones.
Nice.
He wasn't the savior, but they did like, all right, so what you got to do is we're going to put you here about 2,000 years before Jimmy and just convince those people to be nicer to each other. And he turns, he takes the headset off. They fucking crucified me. What the fuck?
Jesus, it's time to go back. I'm sending you the cheat codes.
That's what it is. I figured it out. Guys. Anyway, it'd be cool, but I don't believe it.
Yeah.
But you can hope for it.
All right.
Thank you guys.
Thanks, Joshua.
Enjoy your night.
I'll see you, Josh.
All right, see ya.
Later.
Bye.
Hey, if you liked this video, why don't you click that like button?
And if you didn't
That's
like
where
it,
you would say,
subscribe.
Okay.
You didn't give me a chance.
There was such a long pause.
What are you on speed or something? I barely had a chance.
Let's try again. Hey, I hope you liked. Hey, I hope you. Fuck. Hey there. I hope you liked that clip. Hey, I hope you liked that clipper just now, the one that you just watched with your eyes. If you did like it, why don't you click that like button?
And if you didn't like it, tell Jimmy to go fuck himself.
Hey, I hope you liked that clip right now. If you did like it, why don't you hit that like button?
And if you didn't like it, go ahead and subscribe anyway.